Turmoil is in the land. Judah and Israel, these two nations, are beginning to fall. Isaiah the prophet has some words for them, words of hope, Isaiah's song. In Isaiah chapter 9, he announces in very clear terms the idea of a Messiah. Isaiah introduces the one who will transform and bring light into the misery and despair of war and bring a time of joy, of peace. Being a prophet, Isaiah received divine revelations from God. He recorded what he was told and considered it certain that these events would come to pass. The passage of Isaiah 9 begins by describing the change that will occur with the coming Messiah. This change will end hopelessness and depression. This change will bring light into those who are walking in the darkness. When the darkness is expelled because of the light, joy and peace will follow. The joy mentioned, it's an extravagant joy. Isaiah relates it to the joy that comes at the harvest and the dividing of plunder after war. After laboring in the fields, when the harvest was completed, people, they would gather to celebrate. And after a battle is won, there is a sense of celebration and victory. And I love verse 6. This is beautiful. Here Isaiah begins describing the Messiah, that he will be born a person, a son will be given to us. Then Isaiah tells us more about the Messiah. The Messiah will be known as Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, and Prince of Peace. Let's look at these titles. Now, the term wonderful describes the supernatural and extraordinary nature of this child born to us. To describe the Messiah as wonderful is to define him with outstanding and marvelous qualities. There's wonder, there's awe in who he is. And the term counselor relates to his ability to rule with wisdom. He's involved in the decision-making process and with power and authority. He knows what to do. The Messiah is mighty God. He is made in the image of God like none other. The Messiah will come with might and power, and he will display the power of God like no one else. The Messiah, the anointed one, would be known as the powerful one, the mighty God. We see this person, the Messiah, would be known as Emmanuel, God with us. The Messiah can be described as everlasting Father, and this gives us a sense of his eternal love. The Messiah will display love in all its fullness for the world to see. The last title is the label of enduring peace. The Messiah will be one who brings a blessing of peace for his people. He will be a Prince of Peace who brings reconciliation, healing, and hope to his people. When we think of peace, we usually think of a time or period without war. However, this peace is an eternal, everlasting peace. It will not go away. Finally, Isaiah describes the Messiah's reign and declares that it will be marked by peace and righteousness. His reign is eternal and everlasting. The Messiah will establish his kingdom with justice and righteousness forever. His peace will never end, and he will reign with justice for all eternity. Who is the Messiah? The Bible tells us that the Messiah is a descendant of David, meaning that the Messiah will come from the throne line of his ancestor David. The Messiah? It's Jesus. Jesus is the visible image of the invisible God. God showed himself to be this person, the anointed one, our King. We find our hope, peace, and salvation through Jesus Christ. And Jesus is the light in our dark world. Jesus is the Messiah.